So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the unexcavated soil depth, meaning anything that we hadn't taken out, we're trying to get that level first to prevent any kind of uneven settling under our markers, under our stones. And then we're using the topsoil or anything that we excavated, we're putting it back in to bring it up to a level minus 2 to 3 inches from where we want the base to sit. And then at that point, we're going to put 2 to 3 inches of gravel for drainage to keep them from sitting in water. And then we're going to reset those stones. All the unexcavated soil, everything you're standing on, is highly compacted. It's been there, it's been here a long time, doesn't have any air voids in it, nothing like that. But now we've dug out dirt. And this is all loose and a lot of air pockets between it. So what happens with this soil, just like in a home, you've seen home construction where they backfill the foundation and then you go back there a year later, the foundation's dropped, or the dirt around the foundation dropped like 6 inches, okay? That's even after supposedly the contractor has compacted the soil in lifts, meaning they've put a foot or two in and compacted it, another couple feet, compacted it. So it still settles no matter how hard you try and how much compaction you do, it's going to settle a little bit. If we have a base of a headstone, and let's consider it level underneath it, and I'm setting it in an area where maybe underneath there I dug a little lower on the left side or the right side, okay? But over here I didn't, it's unexcavated. I'm gonna fill that up with dirt, right? And I'm gonna compact it, now it's nice and level. So now I can put some gravel in and put my stone in. Wrong. The reason is that soil on that side underneath that is gonna settle a little bit. So what we have to do is we have to go down underneath, at least right underneath that stone, and dig it to unexcavated soil level. So go ahead and dig it down to where it's nice and solid, flat, okay? And then start building up from that. Because even if now I backfill with my excavated soil, it's going to settle evenly. So you don't want to undo all your good work to come back a year later to see your stone sitting like that, scratching your head like, well, just why? What happened there? So you always want to take it down to the unexcavated soil at a level condition underneath where your stone is located and build up from there. And we do compact underneath it. We need to use the soil. I can't buy enough bagged gravel to fill up this hole. So we're going to use it. We're going to backfill it, but we took it down to where it was fairly level first, and then we're backfilling it, and then we're just tamping it. Yeah, so let's drop this across here. And we can measure our depth. This is just going to be spitballing, maybe add an inch to this, 10, about 11 inches deep once that gravel's gone. And we have a thickness here. We want to bring it about 6 inches. So we're going to take it down 6, and we have 11. That leaves 5 inches to make up here. About 2 inches of that can be gravel. Okay. So we need to bring about another 3 inches of compacted soil up, and then we can put a couple inches of gravel, and then we can drop our stones in. Okay. Right.
Gravel plus sand, or the sand is just
so if you need the sand for leveling, use it. If you don't, if you feel like you can get it pretty close just with the gravel, just do that. And the reason is you will use a lot of sand putting it over this gravel if you have too much gravel. Now, if you only have an inch or two, you're not going to use as much, but it's all going to flow through before it helps you level. Something to keep in mind also when we're measuring, like in this situation, only that you may want to see, are we sitting low already? Should we be building it up a little higher for a future topsoil addition? You know, something like that. I think we're okay here because everything around it still seems like we're sloping the correct direction. But if this was sitting in like a shallow or something like that, we'd probably want to go ahead and take a wider measurement across that whole area and see where that stone needs to sit for future grading. Yeah, so just keep that in mind, because then you're just removing them all again when you go to do that and setting them again. But I think we're pretty good in this area. Okay, and we're also using a 2x4, which you may have seen in the video, or actually it's a 2x6. And what we're using that for across the excavated area is we're laying it on the grade on each side of the excavated area to give us, basically it's like a plumb line. It's a straight line, and that tells us what our final grade level will be. So we're taking all of our measurements down into the excavated area from the underside of that 2x6. That gives us a true depth measurement versus just kind of eyeballing it to the side. It'll give us a lot more accurate grade when we're finished. Yeah, and we're using that same format for taking measurements with the 2x6 on each of the excavated areas. We would really use it at all excavated areas. There's nothing unique to these 3 locations where we would do something different. It's just a good common practice to get into. We are getting very close to finishing the resetting of these stones.
Once we were able to get the dirt repacked into a better height because they had been buried, so we needed to lift them up, we put in gravel and we put in some sand and then just did some grunt work until we could get it to the right height and then backfilled it in again. Hopefully we got it so that after the next rain it'll still be where it's supposed to be.
If 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, we see, oh, it's in danger, well, hopefully it's as simple as just one person going by there and digging it out. Let's move this thing forward a little bit. It shouldn't be as major as it was right here. Those look great, guys. Yeah, those look really good, don't you think?